Hi friends, my name is Andrea. I'm an artist in residence from LCI in Concord. I hope I'm finding you and your family safe and well. I'm just going to be taking a moment to demonstrate a few artistic techniques that I hope you feel encouraged to join along with, and just take a moment to find some therapy through creating. For this video, I'll be demonstrating the celebratory greeting card that you can also create using watercolor and pen. I'm just going to give myself a little rope, something that it's going to hang from, so give myself a little visual. And now in the world of art, odd numbers is always best, so I like the number 3. I think that always works really well. But what I'm going to do, you'll see, because I have intentions of adding in some lettering to it, is I'm just going to put a little slope, one here and one, I'm going to go about down here. So I like that paper kind of divvied up into thirds, but with a little bit bigger separation there. If I were not including words, I'd probably think about a way to do another one on here, put a smaller little snippet of one, but because I plan on having some type of writing, I want that to be my 1, 2, 3rd thing on this. So I've got that, and now I'm going to just fold my little scrap sheet of paper in half here. So I have a little template to work with. I promise it's going to make your life much easier. Just cut off a little excess here. And so less is more in this case. I'm going to start fairly big. I'm folding it in half, you'll notice, so that I can work with this idea of symmetry. And so I'm creating the kind that have the little triangular cutout at the bottom. So I have to work into the fold, cut into that fold with a triangular corner to create a little flag like so. Now that is way too wide for what I want this visual to be. I want to have a lot more on there, so I'm just going to trim off those loose edges. I'm not looking for perfection here, even if it's not perfectly symmetrical. I think all the better. It'll look a little windblown, it'll look a little patched together, however you want, but I do want one to be a little bit bigger than the other, so I'll just continue to trim it here until I like it. Let me take a little off the top. And then I'll do a second one too, knowing that this one is just going to intentionally be a little smaller, maybe look a little more distant in this case. So don't like how wide that is. I'm going to trim that up again. That's why we work with scrap paper. Maybe it won't be so daunting then. Not as wide. And I like that little guy. So I like the size of that. I'm doing this blue paper here so you can kind of see how bright that's going to be. And I'm liking the scale of that. I might just trim that up a little bit so it doesn't interfere with the line. That's the other thing you have to consider here. If you have bigger ones up here, they could cross over into that, which could be fine and fun too. So I'm liking that. All I'm going to do now is take these little templates, and I'm going to string them along here and trace over top of them, or around them rather. And I like to even use some. You'll notice how mine's coming off the page a little bit in this case. And with that then, you'll get a little bit of cropping and hopefully not a little interference. So I'm just going to work in that shape again with my pencil and just continue to cruise up this line, giving myself as much of a gap as I would like, and continue up that row. Okay, so I have my banners pre-sketched out just lightly with pencil, and now I'm going to go ahead and use my watercolor for painting. I'm going to be utilizing a smaller brush in this case. It is a round one so that I can kind of get into the nooks and crannies of those little corners. Now I'm going to be going in when that is dry and putting on a Sharpie pen or just a permanent marker lining around that. I'm not going to be super concerned about it coming outside the edges of it, as I think it's just kind of adds to the fun watercolor nature of it too. So I'm going to get that brush wet, and now I just have fun picking colors. I'm going to be putting my first layer on every single one of these. Just be conscious, of course, of if you're left-handed or right-handed, which order you work in and how your hand drags, and dry time is going to be important. So I'll go ahead and just pick a color here. I'm going to start with a red one that's here on the edge, and you'll see me just sort of mop around in there. I dipped into that color. Just grab the paint directly, and you'll see me also adjust the paper. It's always important for you to be the boss of this paper. There's no sense in you contorting your body and feeling uncomfortable during this. I'll continue on down that row. I'm not going to overthink colors too much right now. Maybe you have a theme to them or a pattern for them. But just get those filled in. Okay, when it seems that you have your first layer of your wash down and all those little shapes and it is dry, we're going to go ahead and add the second color, or the second layer, which is going to be known as the glaze. And so the glaze is going to not simply cover up the existing color, but rather it's covering it in a transparent way so that you're still seeing that color behind it, knowing that if I'm going to put a red on top of this particular yellow, it's not just going to be red, it's going to be kind of a reddish orange because the yellow is shining through. So that's kind of the joy of this. I feel like these look a little unfinished until you put the glaze on this. Now it doesn't mean if I put that red down and I say, well, I just really want it to be red, I can just put a second coat of red on it. That's perfectly fine too. So just kind of have fun playing with what those colors would be. I'm still using the smaller round brush, and now kind of thinking about what colors I like best next to the other ones. And so I want that red to soften a little bit. And that will continue. Same techniques, coating over top, being okay with a little bit of that color shining through. This is where that glaze is beautiful. I want to show you the difference here. Look at this nice green that popped out from a glaze of a darker green and a yellow first, and then look at what this green looks like, which is very flat. And so nothing wrong with that if you like that green, but there's just going to be a uniqueness of vibrancy to a green that you create with those two colors layered over top versus just something flat. So we'll continue painting over those and see what other unique glazed colors that we can achieve. So I waited until those second coats of color, those second washes and glazes were completely dry before I'm going to do this next step. You just don't want to drag your hand through it. And now, even though I utilized a little template in order for tracing that, I'm not going to do a template. I'm just going to freehand this part of it. So be quick about it. I'm just still, again, using a permanent marker. If there is any wet spots, you'll find out real quickly. So you're just going to go over top of these. And again, it's okay to let yourself have a little bit of outside of the lines look. It might be best for me to actually do my line first. Move this around so you feel the most comfortable. And this is just going to help it pop. When it comes to realistic art, we don't throw an outline around it. When it comes to something with a little bit more graphic appeal and something that you just want to have pop, that's going to be something in, say, a greeting card like way, it's okay to have a little bit of a black outline or an outline work in general. Line work's fun. It might get a little wobbly in some of these cases, but I'm not going to be concerned. We'll say it adds to the personality. Cover these lines. One last thing I like to do, or two more things rather, is I try to imply a little bit of a shadow. So I might decide, okay, I want the right side in general to be just a little darker. And I might go over the right side, and what would be that inside right of that just adds a little bit of a thickness to it. Now I could do that with another marker that's thicker, or I could just do this. But it's just going to put a little bit of a shadowy overhang. Give me an opportunity to clean it up a little bit too.